We have an active genocide going on. It is actually illegal for the United States to support this genocide. It violates the Leahy Law. It violates the Foreign Assistance Act. It is a threat to every living person, basically. And of course, ironically, now I don't speak out because this has a dangerous effect on Jews. It does have a dangerous effect on Jews. I speak out because I believe that Palestinians are human beings with human rights. I also speak out because Israel doesn't get to speak for all Jews. But the irony is that for all the people like you who talk about Jewish safety, the irony is that you are making Jews less safe. Israel is making Jews less safe. AIPAC is making Jews less safe. The ADL is making Jews less safe. And you're engaging in the anti-Semitic trope of equating Jewishness with Zionism. Every time that you claim that all Jews have to be Zionists or that it's anti-Semitic to be anti-Zionist, you are leaning into that dual loyalty trope, which claims that all Jews are a monolith and we all support Israel. And again, when you're live streaming the genocide that the entire world sees, and you're saying that this is for the sake of Jews, I don't know how that's good for the Jews.
But Benjamin, do you believe that any Palestinian children are severely hungry?
It would appear to be the case, yes. I see the same image as you do, and it's heartbreaking. But we have to ask ourselves, who's at fault for that?
Israel.
Who? Oh, really? So if on October 6th, and I'm going back in history, I know there are going to be a lot of questions going on, but let me finish what I have to say. On October 6th, there was a ceasefire. There were no hungry children in Gaza because there was plenty of aid going into Gaza, much of which was being stolen by Hamas from the get-go. Hamas spent...
You guys said openly, the Israeli government said, we're putting the people of Gaza on a diet. You calculated the exact number of calories required to survive. That's not exactly letting in enough food or aid. That's called a siege.
In fact, there is a positive command right now for Jews to be living in the land of Israel. When we pray 3 times a day. In the thrice daily prayers, we talk about the return to Zion dozens and dozens and dozens of times. And this is not a new thing. We've been praying for the return to Zion for 2,000 years. When we pray, we face Jerusalem. So to negate the core attachment that Jews have to the land of Israel is to negate Judaism itself. You cannot separate Jews from Zion.
And now, why do all these Orthodox Jews oppose Zionism?
Hang on. Let me finish the point.
Sorry.
And then,
I mean, a lot of what Shabbos...
Hang on. No, Peter, that's not how it works. You have to let me finish the point, and then you can tell me why I'm wrong. But you can't tell me I'm wrong before I finish the point.
Oh, I thought you had. Go ahead.
You're already wrong.
Go ahead.
Katie, you can't say I'm wrong.
No, go ahead, Shabbos. Go ahead.
3 times a day, which I assume you don't. If you would pray 3 times a day, you would notice that in our prayer books, we mention Zion dozens and dozens and dozens of times.
Yeah, you know what else? You know what the Torah mentions? You know what the Torah mentions 12 times is the orphan and the widow, protecting the orphans and widows. But for people like you, you think the Torah says it's creating orphans and widows, apparently. So spare me the lecture on morality based on the text.
But the text that Shabbos and I both read and study and revere were mostly written before the creation of the state of Israel. There's a distinction between a connection to the land and a connection to the people and the connection to a state that was built in 1948. And we have the right to question whether the political system of that state, is not ordained by God, right? And I believe that my Judaism starts with the understanding that Torah doesn't start with the Jewish story. It starts with universal human beings created equal in the image of God. And so when I think about the political system that I favor, whether in Israel, Palestine, or the United States or anywhere else, my foundational belief is that it should treat people equally under the law, because that is the political expression of the theological principle in Judaism that all human beings are created equal in the image of God.
Katie, the last word to respond. Katie.
Well, it's really not difficult. Israel is obliged to follow international law and international humanitarian law. It violates it literally every day. It doesn't respect rules of proportionality, rules of distinction. I think it's really dangerous for Shabbos to try to say that the genocide in Israel is somehow related to Judaism. That's certainly not good for the Jews. I think that what you're describing is an ethno-state and ethno-supremacy. I don't want a state to be given rights because of what is said in the Torah. I don't think that's fair. I don't think you'd accept that if any other leader did it. And the truth is, this is a distraction. The important thing to note is that Israel is an apartheid state. It is committing genocide as we speak. It is starving people. What the United States needs to do for its own self-interest, is cut off all funding because it violates the Leahy Law, the Foreign Assistance Act. Also, you kept talking, Shabbos, about how popular, how supported Israel is. Actually, support for Israel is at a historic all-time low, lower than it's ever been since modern polling. And that's because they see what Israel's doing. Everyone sees it. They see the children with their arms blown off. They see the children who are getting amputations without anesthetic. And they see that Israel is also not just doing this, but celebrating. I mean, why are the IDF wearing the lingerie of the women who they ethnically cleanse? Why are they taking selfies of themselves in front of exploded universities and mosques? That is sick. And why do the majority of Israeli people actually support ethnic cleansing, not getting rid of Hamas? And also, no one mentioned the fact that Hamas has already agreed to give up political powers. Let me just finish one sentence. Netanyahu said that if the hostages were released, he still would keep launching the war. So all the talking points about how Hamas could end this tomorrow if they just released the hostages is a lie.